Shouldn't be too bad. So welcome today, and what I wanted to start with is actually a little discussion about sort of looking back, like the privilege that I have is to work with people like you, school systems, governments, school districts from around the world, and it gives me a pretty cool perspective really of kind of what's going on globally. And of course different countries are all in different situations and things, and so what I wanted to share actually today, if I may, is a little bit of kind of what we've seen in the past and kind of where things are going. So by the raise of hands, how many of you, if you look back 10 or 15 years, so looking back a little bit, if you guys all look so young, you may not have been around then, but how many of you had a one-to-one or something similar laptop initiative? So raise your hand if you had Windows machines at the time, probably. Raise them high for me. So we have a few. Okay, not too many. But obviously we all have Windows machines, right? So now, how many of you, beginning a few years ago, have had an iPad initiative of some kind? Literally, I'm talking iPads this time. We'll go through everything. Okay, so a lot of you. Okay, great. So obviously with the introduction, and of course before iPads, out of curiosity, did anyone start working with iPod touches in their schools? Anyone do that? We did see a little of that, so we got a little bit. It was kind of a short little skip, wasn't it? Because the iPad came out and things kind of shifted away from it. But so we have this sort of legacy Windows machines, or these older Windows machines that we did 10, 15, even 20 years ago. And then the introduction of the iPod Touch and the iPad, we really started to think, hey man, maybe we can give one of these to every student. And what would that mean? Maybe they can take them home. That's our brains started to go in a little bit different direction. In the US, which is where I'm from, as you can tell by my outrageous accent, Chromebooks are huge. They're huge. They've now overtaken Apple as the #1 device in America. But we don't really see that. Who has Chromebooks? Anyone have some Chromebooks? So a couple? But yeah, we're not really seeing that in a lot of markets yet. But my point is, like literally, the market share they've got in the US is enormous. And the last thing I'll say is, with the introduction of Windows 10, how many of you are interested in or are purchasing Windows 10 devices now? This is the last annoying question I'm going to ask you. Okay. So my point is, with the interesting thing with the introduction of Windows 10, Microsoft is really standing up and saying, you know what, we sort of get that the way to manage these devices and the way to handle them in a school system or a corporation for that matter is really using something like Airwatch, right? Not the way we used to manage Windows on the domain, but really with EMM, or Enterprise or Education Mobility Management. So Windows 10 is literally, those devices are managed by us. If you look back, really, Airwatch doesn't manage Windows 7 devices. We do a little bit with 8.1, but Windows 10, we're going to have full, robust support for that. Now, my point in telling you all this is, and then, of course, Android. I didn't want to forget Android. So I said it was the last annoying question, but maybe there's one more. So who has Android devices in the classrooms? Okay. So I think you've raised your hand almost every time.
Yeah, we have all of them.
You're all over the place. Yeah. So that's a great point, though. So what I want to say, I actually don't want to focus too much on devices today. I think the discussion is broader than that. But my point is, the one thing that we can be sure of, and that I'm very confident saying, and I've worked with schools for many years, is that things are going to change over time, right? You may have started with a Windows machine or an iPad, but the chance of you having many different device types and even ownership types, we're going to get into that in a minute, but it's almost a sure thing. You may not think it is today, but would you gamble money, would you bet that things are going to stay the same for the next 5 years or 10? I mean, they're just probably not. We don't know what innovations are going to happen yet. Chromebooks, even if you don't have them, they have been very disruptive in the United States, right? This is like a $250 to $300 device that is exceedingly easy to manage for IT professionals, and they give students a good education experience. My point is, even if you're not using that, what's next? I don't know what's next, really, right? But it's going to be interesting. So I think, the one thing we can be sure of is that change is going to be the norm. Like, the way sometimes I feel like saying it, it makes me feel a little bad to say it this way, but it's the truth, y'all. The truth is that we're all sort of building this plane as we fly it. And I think if you don't admit that, you're not sort of living in the full reality that we're in, right? And this is important to me because I think if we can have a meaningful conversation, like literally one-on-one, at some point, if that's of interest to you, I think we can really talk about not only where you are now, but where you want to go. So let's keep going here a little bit. So it is kind of hard, and the real question is that, what I just said is, how do you manage this change, right? How do you go from wherever you are, I don't know where each of you is at the moment, what do your initiatives look like, what are you focusing on, how much are you focusing on content and applications, what about the devices themselves, what mix do you have, what mix do you expect to have tomorrow, I don't know all those. But I think the one thing that we need to sort of discuss is how to get you where you want to go without disrupting what you're already doing here, right? Like keeping the lights on, so to speak. How do we do that and help you get to where you want to go? Because and we can put lots of things up here. I just included a few things of we know that the expectation of our students, and I'm not going to, you hear this all the time, it's obvious, but the expectation, and not just, how many universities do we have here? Can you raise your hand? So we've got, you're front row university. It's actually a little too bad because I think there is a very good conversation to be had between the world of the university and the world of K-12. They're very different, or K-12, I should say primary and secondary, right? Schools, they're very different. But I actually have found it when we have these user groups where we bring together different people, and it's been very meaningful. So I might ask you a question here in a bit. But we know the expectation, and I think universities really feel this almost more so than primary and secondary ed. These students are coming to class with 1, 2, 3, 4 devices, and they're expecting to be able to learn, to access resources and things on that device. And universities are kind of going, how do we do that? It's such a crazy mix of devices. They're bringing everything, phones, tablets, laptops, Chromebook, they're bringing everything to the table, and somehow you have to find a way to allow them to have a meaningful experience. So it's kind of a difficult thing. The number one thing that I hear from you, actually, from schools and school systems is, how do we keep these things safe for kids to use, right? So they're not looking at inappropriate content, etc. How do we do that? It's a big focus as well. So how do we accomplish all these things? Now, this is sort of a marketing slide for Airwatch, so I don't care too much about this. What I'd like to do is get a little input from you for just a minute here. The question is this. We do support this, so I sort of wanted you to internalize this, but what I want to focus on is this right here. Okay, good. So, one of the things that I think we're a little bit multiple personality disorder on is I hear really differing stories on BYOD. So what I'd like to do is maybe get some comments from you on the role of BYOD moving forward. First of all, how many of you already have a policy where you allow students to bring their own devices? So you can see, it's actually, so I would say that was maybe, what, maybe 20% or something? It's a little scary, I get it. But what I'd love to do is, if any of you are willing, let's talk a little bit about, because honestly, I hear everything. I hear on one end of the story, I hear, nope, we're going to provide a device for every student because we need to sort of level the playing field and reach marginalized students and make sure everybody has the same opportunity. On this end, I actually have some school systems that are only BYOD, if you can believe it. That's all they do. They do not have the funding, they don't, Now I will say, it's a big challenge to do that out of the gate, a big challenge. In the middle here, what I hear are schools that say, feedback, schools that say, we started with one-to-one, but man, I don't know if we're going to be able to pay for a device for every student forever. That is a daunting thing, right? So I kind of hear it all. So the question is, who's willing to share a little bit about your thoughts on the role of BYOD? Yes, no, anything in between. So let's take a minute and see if we can get a few comments from you guys. Yes, ma'am. I'm bringing the microphone.
Well, I work with sixth form, and our sixth form, although we provide them with devices which we loan out, the Chromebooks, we just started using Chromebooks, our students tend to bring in their own devices anyway. And we don't want to sort of say, no, you can't bring them in, because further down the school we're using iPads, we're encouraging girls to use mobile technology. So we're just quite lenient with it.
Is that, how do your teachers, do they struggle with that at all, having those? No, they do fine. Okay. Any other thoughts? Similar or maybe the opposite end of the spectrum? Because I think there's an argument on many sides here. Anyone? Yes. Everything's going to come from right here, apparently.
I think one of the issues that we struggle with within a military context is trying to look at it on the security side of life. So we have issues with that and the compatibility of software. So if you have a new type of or a new style of IT coming in, potentially the software may not run a particular package that you have in your education space. So there are issues with that interoperability.
Very good point. Did you? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, you guys can just go to sleep. Everything's coming from right here.
You have so much personalized data in your own device.
Yeah.
So you want to have it with you and connect with your friends and peers. So I think you don't want to put that in a school system. So.
You don't want to?
No, you have to have a blended environment, a mixed environment, I think.
Right. But I think the point there is, it is a challenge because you've got, so what I think his point was, you've got this device that's owned by a student or by the parents, and it has lots of personal data. So how do you sort of separate the two and also have enough security around that device? Because the truth is, Airwatch typically manages BYOD devices very differently than one that you own. Right? It's up to you how you do it, but it's a challenge to have deep fingers, if you will, into a device that is not yours. Right? There are privacy issues there. Right? So there are some challenges there. But I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that we're seeing schools do around BYOD here in just a minute. Anyone else comment on BYOD? My personal feeling, it's worth about what you paid for it, but I think it's inescapable at some point. You may not be there now, and that's absolutely fine. We saw, and what we're seeing, 20% of schools have some kind of BYOD policy, although I would argue most schools that I talk to, it's just sort of like, yeah, bring your device and you can connect to a guest network. You can connect to a guest network. So it's not terribly sophisticated a lot of the time. It sounds like yours is more so, and that your teachers are comfortable with it, and that's great. But what I'm saying is a lot of people are not. Okay. So, I'm going to put this over here. Okay, let's move on here a little bit. So what I want to do is just paint this picture. Now the important thing for me here is that we're going to start looking forward now a little bit. We've sort of had this discussion about the past. BYOD is a little forward thinking. But I don't want this to overwhelm you. I just wanted to point out sort of what, like if I was to take lots of customers and take all the things that they're doing and try and paint a single picture, that's what I try to do here. And there's really more, it's hard to fit it all in one slide, but this is sort of a day in the life. This is primary, secondary focus. We've done the same thing for higher ed. Higher ed's actually more complicated. The truth is, higher ed is education, it's healthcare, it's finance, it's retail, it's all these different things. So it's actually quite complicated, which is actually a great fit for Airwatch because we love all those spaces and we're a good fit for that. But what I want to talk here about is the idea that a student comes in, they have a school-issued device, but they might also have their own device, right? And so they can enroll in Airwatch, and they can get, if it's a device that you provide, and they're going to get all the PDFs, the applications that you want them to have by grade level, by school, whatever they need. But then the class goes to, the student goes to class a little later in the day, and the teacher actually has some control using something like our Teacher Tools application that allows that teacher to say, hey, right now I only want you to focus on these 3 websites, or this one application, or a test, right? So it gives that teacher a little bit of control, and it helps them feel a little more comfortable with what they're doing in the classroom minute by minute. And if it's appropriate to not manage, then they just leave it wide open, and students can explore goes into a computer lab, and this is sort of country by country, but we have begun to get involved really in helping on the technology side, not the curriculum officer side, but how do we help you accomplish your online testing? This is actually a VMware play for the most part. So a virtual desktop is delivered to the PC lab, right, from a server somewhere, and the student can log into that. We can lock the machine down so that's all they can access, and they can take their test, and then when the test is over, that's removed, and that desktop is exactly like it was before you started, right? So very simple, very easy, very clean, and it's really efficient for schools. Later in the day, one of the big things that we're very interested in is helping. We're not a learning management system, but we have very strong ability to create content distribution. So if you individual teachers are able to target students in groups and classes with exactly the content that they want them to have, students can access that folder very simply and easily. The great thing about the way we do this is that you maintain control over it. So let's say if it was something sensitive, like, I don't know, a take-home test or something, we can actually make it so that the students can't put it on their device. They can access it, but they can't sort of take it, cut, copy, paste, print. So that's a minor thing, but I just wanted to kind of sort of mention that. So the student can now collaborate and work with other students with their homework time. The point on the 2:30 time frame is that now that Airwatch and VMware have combined, not only can we do sort of the virtual desktop, because what we're seeing here is not just the convergence of tablets and laptops like Windows 10 machines. We are seeing that now. What we're also seeing is things like Chromebooks and also virtual desktops, virtual applications that allow you to centrally manage that without having to have the expertise sort of on the ground locally in the school, but to deliver that simply and easily. So regardless, this is a big thing for us in higher ed, especially with the movement toward online learning, because you do not know what machine that student has. You have no idea, right? And if they happen to be an engineering student or a graphics design student, they need to have a pretty strong machine, right? Like if they're going to run that software. Well, with things like our Horizon Air, Horizon View product, you can deliver a very powerful experience, even in low bandwidth situations, to those students. We'll talk about some education customers that have done exactly that. And then, of course, they need access to this, whether they're home, in the library, at a cafe, wherever they are, so they can learn anytime. Okay, so let's get on to some good examples, some concrete examples. We're actually going to kind of go right to left here. So the first is, now the thing, going back one, I realize this could be, oh yeah, Preston, that's great, I can't afford that, that's too much. My point is, we literally do not have a single customer right now, with maybe one exception, that's sort of doing all of this stuff. Everyone starts where they're comfortable starting. The point is that the solution is something that you can grow into. And by that I mean, if you just have iPads or just have laptops today, but down the road you're going to change to Chromebooks or you're going to change to something else, you can do that. How many of you actually have virtual desktops of any kind already in your school systems, right? So what we're starting to see is a desire to be able to manage and work with that all through a single pane of glass. And so that's where we're starting to go. And my point is, looking forward, like what else is going to hit the radar? We don't even know today, right? So we have to be ready for that. And that's something we are very committed to, is being able to support that for you. Okay, so I don't want it to be overwhelming. So we're just going to kind of paint a picture. The Ministry of Education in Malaysia, their challenge was that they wanted to close the divide between rural and urban students. So they have, if you look at Malaysia, they've got sort of some big urban areas, but they have remote areas as well. The infrastructure is poor. Literally, some of these schools are powered by solar power, and they have a 2 megabit line coming in, and that is it. Like that's all they have, and it comes and goes. So they had to find a solution to improve the education for these students and close that gap and level the playing field. So we worked with them very closely, and they used a certain deployment, if you will, of our Horizon View. So for them, the starting point was actually virtual desktops. This allowed them to give, and they're sort of not one-to-one. So they're doing this in labs in schools. They have at least one lab to be several thousand initially, and it's going to grow. But they deploy these desktops, even in these schools that have poor connectivity, they're able to get the content and the experience, even powerful graphic software when it's needed, which is, you know, kind of a niche thing, but they're able to do that and offer a very good experience to them. So their starting point was actually VDI. The College Mirasur, I wanted to put them in here because they represent a different place in the world, and also because they really started with the Airwatch side of things. So they, this is 700 devices initially. The point I wanted to make here is sometimes I think people think Airwatch is maybe just for large organizations, and it's true that I feel the larger you are and the more sort of diverse you are, the more cautiously optimistic I am that we're going to get to work together. That's a very difficult thing to do. But this is a very small school system. The point I wanted to make here is they used Airwatch to roll out 700 iPads. It took them about a week to get it all configured and ready to go. So these solutions are actually quite attainable, quite easy to manage. The College of Europe, again, is kind of a mix, but they already had a mixture of devices. They had a mixture of Windows and Android devices, and they just didn't know where to begin. And so they also started with the Airwatch side. They are now beginning to do VDI as well, is my understanding as well. So again, kind of showing how they're looking forward. The last, which we're going to spend a little more time on, is Girls' Day School Trust here in the UK. This is the largest institution, I believe, educating young women in the UK. This was an interesting one. We're actually going to watch a little video on it, but what I love is sort of how they are looking forward. And if you haven't caught on, that's really that's my hope today, is that somehow if you're looking forward already, that maybe we've talked about a few things where you're like, maybe we should look at that. If you're sort of in the moment and you're just struggling to deal with what you already got, to take a minute and just kind of look forward and think, oh, that's a good point. How are we going to not just accomplish what we're going to do today, but how do we move forward? That's really the goal of the presentation today. So let's take a minute and just watch this video. It's like 2 minutes, so it's not long. They say a lot better than I could, so.
GDST is a 140-year-old organisation which is now grown to be the biggest independent educator of girls in the UK. The mission for our girls is to educate them from the ages of 3 to 18 brilliantly, to give them the best possible opportunities in life.
As part of our mission to make sure that we're providing the best possible education for girls, it's really important that we're providing access to really high quality technology to really top newest devices, making sure that students have a really good experience of using those devices and have an understanding of how they can use technology effectively, which then helps them move on to higher education.
It's quite a creative way of learning, and I think it engages me a bit more than just looking at the computer or the screen that our teacher's talking about and writing things